just outside the village, a signpost that has the word Birka, but it's been scratched hard with something sharp. There is a main road that goes through and keeps on going. A very basic structure of a fence around the village, and houses are built along the main road. The first thing you notice as you enter the village is that people seem exhausted. There are some old ladies swiping the floor outside their homes. There are people going by their business. It's getting breezier by the moment, so they try to pack up their belongings, close up the barns, getting ready to stay inside for the night.
Can I see a trader or a merchant store? Or an inn?
There is an inn at the end of the road just before you leave the village. You can also see that it's probably the biggest of the structures. But as far as a merchant shop or benches and stalls and something resembling a market, no.
I turn towards my companions and I tell them, I think our best bet would be to go to the inn at the end of the settlement and inform ourselves. Maybe stock up on provisions.
Don't you remember what the soldier said? There is presumably some illness going around. It's better if I put my doctor mask on and go alone to that.
Do you think that we should remain here and not enter the village until you can inform us if it's safe to follow along?
Indeed, that would be the safest.
Alright.
So I put my plague mask on and go towards the tavern.
Imagine being a villager at the side of the road and you see a tiny figure coming through the night with a plague mask that you've never seen before.
Will you stay behind, both of you, and only Fristos will approach?
I will check out the surroundings from where we are.
I will definitely stay behind.
Give me an awareness roll, and Fristos, as you walk towards the inn, you see a hung wooden sign that reads Chimera's Head Inn. What you can see from the outside, a young girl running around the tables, tidying up, moving chairs to their spot. There's a man behind the bar, and two people eating at the moment.
Okay, I walk towards the man and say, welcome there, villager. My name is Fristos, son of Krestafras. I am a doctor and I have heard that your village of Jealousy is having a problem with an illness. Could you perhaps provide any details about what's going on?
Oh, the doctor. Come on, have a seat and tell me what you're having, and I'll explain everything. Would you like to drink? Would you like to eat something?
I can definitely drink later, but first I must know any details about the condition people in the village are suffering, are ill. How does the illness manifest?
I'll tell you all I know, master. No, Gulue, come here, child. He calls for the girl. Go to your mother. Get us a mug of wine and 2 cups. Yes, Papa. And the girl leaves behind the bar. He just nods and waves his hand to the chairs. He grabs one and sits himself down.
So Fristos walks towards the chair and sits. Before we drink, I assume that you and the people inside the inn are perfectly healthy.
The gentleman behind you?
Yes, are you all unaffected by the illness?
I think so, sir. I believe we are. I mean, nobody has any of the other people's symptoms. First of all, how did you learn of our village and the situation? Because we've sent word, but nobody came from Claremont.
When we crossed the border from Mecht, a soldier who was guarding cocaine said that your village has an issue with the epidemic. So we decided it may be good to visit Jersey and check if we can help. Also, can I roll to check if Everyone in the inn seems healthy.
Give me a healing hands. Follow that with a deduction roll. You're trying to understand without actually interacting with them, just by looking.
Fristos is considering whether he can invite Nicola and Arpad inside.
25 is more than enough. Go for deduction. Ooh, okay. You gaze around and his complexion is fine. The other people that are eating and drinking seem okay. Combining what the soldier told you and the look of his daughter, you're convinced that these people inside the inn are doing fine.
As I sit, I say to the bartender, before we drink, can you send someone to invite my two friends to come inside?
Oh, certainly, yes. My daughter will take care of this. Gule, come on, child.
In the meantime, I took the plague mask off and put it on the table next to me.
The girl approaches with a tray. She puts the mug and 2 cups on the table and says, what is it, Papa? The man here has company outside waiting. Tell them to join us. Quickly, quickly. Yes, Papa. Then she moves out. She comes at you, Arpad and Nicolas. Arpad, who tried to gauge at what's happening around you. You've seen many villages in your time traveling and going from place to place. You are fairly certain that these people react strangely. You can also see that people's eyes followed the gnome as he entered the inn. Some shutters closed hastily. Also, you can see a notice board. On it, you see a single piece of paper.
I move towards the notice board.
There is a contract that reads, people of all ages, able-bodied, are required to get rid of the bear that's eating people in the forest.
Oh. I call over to Nicola. I'll tell him, come over here. I found something that might be of interest to us.
I go to Arpad, where he's calling me.
There seems to be a bear prowling the area, killing settlers and travelers. It might be worthwhile to check it out.
A bear and a plague. That's an unlucky village indeed.
Indeed.
While you do that, a little girl comes at you and says, are you the newcomers that came with the doctor, sir?
We are indeed, yes.
The doctor has asked for you.
Very well.
And she smiles at you.
I smile back.
I smile back too. Of course, little lady.
Lead on.
We shall follow you forthright.
But before we leave, I do tear the notice from the board and take it with me.
Nobody calls me little lady. I'm Gulwe. And I'm a girl. And she turns around.
How young is she?
6, 7 years old.
I will say to her, acting like a lady is not a matter of age, it's a matter of character and choice. I want to inspire her to aspire to bigger things, to better things, about her manners, about her lot in life. Can I roll leadership?
I don't see a reason not to.
It's a 22.
As she turns around, she stands on her feet and turns back and says, you talk nicely. You are not like my dad. You seem like a man from the big city who knows lots of things. You're probably a very good teacher, are you? We don't have teachers here.
My teachers were my parents because there was no school where I grew up.
What's a school like?
From what I've read, it's a place with a lot of children. I look at Arpad, maybe lost for words, and I say, and constructed, very specific way of teaching, probably. Forget about it. You can learn a lot of things from books, even if your father is not quite qualified to give you a formal education.
She places her hands on her hips and says, I believe I understood half of what you're saying now. But a place with children? That sounds very, very nice. And books? I need to learn to read first. Will you teach me how to read?
Well, that's a worthy quest. How can one decline such a request from a lady?
What's a quest? Well, now you're giving me trouble.
It's an undertaking. It's a worthy goal.
Like when I go help my father with the goats?
Right. Pray tell me, young girl. You mentioned that it would be nice, a place full of other children. Are there no kids your age around?
Uh, there are, but mom says they are sick now, and there is also no babies here. The kids my age, they stay in their houses almost all day long now. I'm the only one that can go to the inn or help my dad in the fields or with the animals,
No babies.
and I don't have any friends now. I used to, but now everybody stays inside.
I'm sure it's probably the weather. Things will get better.
Come on, the doctor is waiting for you.
I give a perplexed look at Arpad.
I shrug.
So she walks hastily and quite cheerfully. She looks a bit more cheered up than when she came to find you, although she's a 6-year-old and 6-year-olds are always cheerful. You step inside, you see a couple of people eating and drinking by a table, the only ones inside the inn. Fristos is sitting with another man who is wearing an apron, so you might probably guess that he is the owner.
I will walk towards them.
Fristos invites his friends to sit alongside him, then looks at the bartender and asks, "Before we start talking business, what can you offer us to dine? We have walked quite a distance, and if it isn't a trouble, we could certainly eat some of your fine food."
My wife and me, we have some simple things to offer. You can have as much beer or wine as you wish, boiled potatoes, some meat, goat cheese, pieces of bread. Simple meals, actually. That's all we can offer. And you can certainly stay the night.
We will be honored to be your guests, my friend. So as I wiggle my nose around, oh yes, potatoes and meat will be perfect.
Bleu. Go to your mother and bring 3 plates of food, please. The child smiles and leaves towards the kitchen. The man places his hands on the table. He looks at you, nods towards all of you, takes his cup, drinks it all in one gulp, then places the cup back on the table, taps his fingers. He's actually really nervous and says, "My name is Matos. As you've seen, our village is troubled. The people of the village believe that their own children are sick because of my daughter, because she is not sick, as you can see. I don't know what to do anymore. It's been almost a month now. She's doing fine, and I believe the others are just..." And he looks at you with naive eyes. They're just jealous. I can understand them. I would probably feel the same if my kid was coughing all the time, coughing blood. Is it my fault? My kid is strong and healthy? Am I to blame or my family?
Could you perhaps describe what type of illness, what symptoms trouble your neighbors, the people of this village?
They don't have much appetite, so they start eating less and less, and that has made them weak. I don't know if you are parents, but everyone knows a good, chubby kid is always best. When a kid doesn't eat, it will fall ill. These other kids of the village, the fever has got them. We've asked for help from Claremont 3 weeks ago, and nobody came. They don't care about us. I specifically paid a messenger. Nobody came. Apart from the coughing and the fever and the loss of appetite, they just stay inside for the rest of the day. I haven't seen a single child outside for almost 3 weeks now.
All this started 3 weeks ago, didn't it?
I'd say about a month ago.
And were there any special occurrences around that time?
When you say special,
I take out the notice I had taken from the board. This bear here, did he appear around the same time?
No, the bear is here long before that. Nobody wants to go to the forest anymore. Why do you ask? What does the bear have to do anything with illness? It's just a bear in the woods.
It was just a thought. Does this town have a well?
Oh, yes, we have a well. Lots of people were going into the forest and find springs and brought water back before the bear.
Where exactly would the well be?
The well is on the other side of the village, and somebody could also go to the river and bring water as well, but you know how river water is, or how it tastes.
My good man, you're an innkeeper.
I am that, yes.
Your daughter probably has access to better food.
She does.
Is there a chance your food is, for some reason, safer than the food the other villagers eat? Maybe that has gotten their children sick.
How should I know, my good man?
All I'm asking is, are you keeping your livestock separate? Do you mix your grains with the rest of the villagers?
I don't actually. I have my own fields. Why is this about me and my family? Are you suggesting something?
We are not suggesting anything, my friend. I must ask, do you know which family, which kid was targeted by this illness first? Who was the first victim?
Oh, that would be Jules. His father used to be a good friend of mine. Now he doesn't speak to me anymore.
So nobody died from this illness yet.
Oh, no. No, thank the gods, nobody is dead, but they are all afraid. I don't know how much life there's left in Jules anymore.
Where can we find them?
Could you perhaps lead us to the house they live in so that I could investigate some symptoms and check if I can find a cure for the illness that is plaguing the village?
Perhaps it would be safer if my wife took you there. I don't want to startle Jules' parents.
Why would the villagers don't want to talk with you or your daughter, but are perfectly fine with your wife?
They are not perfectly fine with my wife, but if somebody was to lead you there, perhaps it shouldn't be Gulue or me. That's what I'm saying. It's not something I know of, but I don't want to take any chances of them getting angry and then turning against you as well. You seem that you want to help.
My friend is asking, why would your presence make them angry and not your wife's?
Because you said that villagers believe that your daughter is the cause of the illness, but if they blame your daughter, why are they blaming you?
I told you, I think they are jealous of me and my daughter who is not sick. I can't explain it any other way.
I am gonna roll for human perception.
Me too.
I roll as well.
Okay, then everybody -2 except Nicolas.
21.
So it's 18. I forgot to roll -2, so it will be 16.
21, 16, and 12. Nicolas and Fristos can understand that the man is probably withholding something. There is a reason behind him not going.
Bit reluctantly, I look at Matos's eyes and I say, you've probably never heard of me. My name is Nicola. They call me Nicola of the Lake. I'm a wandering knight. If you have nothing to hide, let truth be your shield, and be not afraid of confronting the other villagers, for if you are truthful and you do want to help, then you will find me by your side. I don't know if he's heard of me. If he has, I'll roll for my reputation and then try to convince him through leadership.
He needs to roll.
Under my reputation.
But you've got.
Yes, I have an 8. If this kingdom is allied to Tucson. Otherwise, it's 5.
He got a 9.
So he's never heard of me.
So I roll for charisma. and ask, is there perhaps anything more that could you share with us that could be useful to know what's going on in this town?
Smicky 13 is for charisma, right?
Yeah, I almost fumbled.
Yeah, you almost humbled. He gathers himself and says, Sir Knight, I don't know your name or what family you come from or where you were born. I only know that you probably mean well to me and my family, and the good doctor here also seems willing to get to the bottom of this.
Can I roll leadership as well, even if he's never heard of me?
Concerning the part about the truth, yes, you can.
I'll spend 1 luck point. That's a good roll.
Ooh.
31.
So he leans back on his chair and says, well, what you say about the truth, nobody can deny that. He strips his brow, takes the other mug that doesn't belong to him. It was initially intended for Fristos, gulps it down with a single sip, and says, well, I might have not told you everything. You see, there was a fight in the inn a month ago. People used to come here to drink, play, dice. It's what you do in the village. They don't need me to cook or my wife, because everyone has their own and keeps to it, because we don't have lots of money. We cook here for my family and for travelers. Travelers is a good way to make money. At some point we had a drink too many. They were only asking to drink here and had no intention of ever eating. So I told them, what's so bad about eating my food? It's good enough for everybody. It can also help me and my family, of course. It was probably because I drank a bit more and because there was a long time since the last traveler came in, and they started offending me and my family, saying that I only care about money, I'm not their friend, don't want to talk about it, but I might have said some things to them that I don't know if it's the cause for everything, but he closes his eyes, he sighs once more and says, I told them that I wish their food tastes bad so that they need to come to me and eat my food. But could this be it? I was hungry. I didn't mean to hurt them.
I look sideways to Arpad and Fristos, and then I fix my gaze on Fristos and I say, could this be possible?
I roll for education, I guess. Education or something else.
Roll and I'll tell you afterwards. Ooh, second 10. As far as you know, it would not be possible in any scientific way for this to happen. But you live in a world where magic exists. You live in a world where strange stories reach every known corner of the world. What you listened would be described as a hex or a curse.
My character knows that curses exist and believes in them, so, but I don't think he knows how to treat curses.
No, he doesn't. That's why I said that education will probably give you a part of it.
People around can see that Fristos is worried, and then he says, I admit my medical education might not cover such supernatural, magical, or divine circumstances, but I will nevertheless visit the ill children and see what can be done.
Even if the source of this tragedy is magical or divine, I really hope for the sake of those children that your expertise can help them.
Of the game now and not in character, can I probably No, because I held high that one way to lift the curse is the person who is the cause of the curse to do some things.
As a player, you know it, but whether the character knows it, that's a different story. And it's a very thin line.
But can he like suspect that if the barkeeper is the source of this calamity, can he suspect that the barkeeper can also undo it somehow?
I mean, Fristos can definitely believe that the source of all this trouble is Matos, but for him to know that he would also be the means to lift, that would need some other type of knowledge.
I think this is a worthy goal. We should try to help these people. But you, Matos, if there's something you can do, then in the name of atonement, you should do it.
Yeah, I will look towards Nicola and say, I agree with you. If you can help us atone for this, that would be the best.
And Christos claps hands and say, but before we can investigate the matter further, we should definitely take some rest, because our long walk was quite demanding. My old bones must rest.
Of course, also, here's your food. You can eat and then rest as much as you like. I won't charge you for this. I hope I didn't offend you, but I was scared to tell you the whole truth.
We are very grateful for your hospitality here.
We are simple folk. We should be standing together and not like this. If there's anything I can do,
Yes, you can do one thing. Buy your daughter some books. Find someone to teach her how to read and write.
it will be the first thing I do if you help resolve this situation, good sirs. I promise.
We will, and you will, at the best of our ability. All of us.
Thank you. Thank you. I really do. I'll leave you to yourselves. Eat, drink, and get some rest. I'll be waiting for you tomorrow to tell me what needs to be done.